I'm excited today, guys. I'm always excited. I know I'm always excited. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm excited. But today I have the opportunity to introduce you to the creator of the Wendy Diem Notary Planner. And it was a really great conversation, really calm, really conversational. And I think that you're going to get a lot of benefit from listening to the creator of a planner and her brain behind how she created it. So I'm so glad you're here. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go meet Wendy. Hi, everybody. It's Jen with JKC Mobile Notary. Welcome back to the channel. We've got another great interview for you today, and I'm so excited to introduce you to the creator of a very popular planner, is the Notary Planner, is Wendy Diem. Let me tell you a little bit about her before I introduce you. I'm thrilled that she's here. She's an amazing notary, and Wendy's Diem Notary to Go is a Pennsylvania notary, with an extensive career in the legal industry. Wendy is also the creator, like I said, of the best notary planner on the market. In fact, I did a review of that planner, and I'll link that video in the description. But with that, let's welcome Wendy. Wendy, God, I'm so glad that you had time to sit with me and have this quick little interview today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to share my planner. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Well, let's just get started because all of these interviews this year, I want to start at the beginning of your notary career. So can you share with me your journey to becoming a notary in the first place?
Sure. It started way back in 1986, believe it or not. And
Wow.
don't anybody do the math here, guys. Okay. But yes, I was a paralegal, corporate real estate and estate planning paralegal. So it's parlayed very nicely into the notary world. So anyway, I did that. And then in 2003, I was lucky enough to be able to stay home and raise my kiddos. So I took a little sabbatical, stayed home, did all the mom stuff.
Mhm.
And then I think it was 2018, I started my mobile notary business. I wanted to get back out into the workforce, and I thought this is the perfect thing to kind of ease myself back into the world of working and
Mhm.
flexible time. And so I did that. Then I approached a title company to be their notary, and they needed somebody to run their office. So I ended up doing title insurance work for 2 years
Wow.
and full time. And let me tell you, I thought being a paralegal was stressful, but no. Being a title agent or a title settlement coordinator is really stressful. So, you loan signing agents out there, just always remember that when you're dealing with them. I mean, everything is last minute and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, I did that for 2 years. So I got lots of title insurance experience now. And then I decided I just want to do the fun part and go to the closings and
Yeah.
have everybody sign the documents and
Yeah.
walk back out the door.
Yeah.
I don't want to do all the prep work
Background
behind the
work.
scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, no, forget that. So I turned in my resignation and then went back to my mobile notary business, which is where I am now. So
I have a follow-up question to that. Do you still do notary work for that company that you worked for?
no, actually, they ended up removing themselves from Pennsylvania. They were a New York company, and
Oh.
the guy, he was opening an office in Pennsylvania. It was in Hershey, where he grew up.
Mhm.
And well, that was all. I started there 2018, and then so I was there 2 years into when COVID hit, and
Yeah.
it was very difficult for them to build up their
Right.
business, and we couldn't get out their network. So
Yeah.
things really slowed down. And then that's kind of when I was like, I think I'm going to
I'm
just,
moving on. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to move on. And he decided to close his office, which I felt really bad about. But
Yeah.
yeah, so he didn't continue in Pennsylvania.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well, what from that, what inspired you to create a notary planner, and how, I'm going to do a two-part on this. How do you believe it can benefit notaries in their day-to-day activities?
okay. Well, I've always been a paper planner person. I mean, professionally and even my personal life. So I kind of just wasn't finding what I liked. So I started making my own and I print the pages out and kind of, just putz around with that. Then I started looking for something for the notary field, and there isn't anything out there. So that's when I had my little aha moment. So I started putting one together. And so then as far as the day to day part, I have the whole 1 day page
Hmm.
that goes from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And
Right.
then I also have the 2 page layout for the monthly.
Which, by the way, your monthly layout is beautiful. It's big, it has room. It's probably one of my favorite things about the planner. I think it's
Well, you know what?
fun.
I can credit that to
Hmm.
Miss Laura Bewer.
I'm not surprised.
Because she looked at my last year one and she was said, "Yeah, I it's not big enough for me to write my appointment." So I'm like, okay. So I started thinking, how am I gonna make this bigger? Which is how it evolved into being so thick,
Right.
is, you know, but it had to be to work for our industry
It
because
does.
you need that space to write everything
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
that was Laura's little piece of suggestion.
Well, if nobody has been in her home and looked at her planner, when you said Laura, immediately I went to my picture in my head of how she plans her days and went, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense why she would want it bigger. So
You
that makes
get it.
sense to me. Yeah. Um, can you highlight some of the key features the notary planner has that sets it apart from generic planners that makes it more tailored for notaries?
Well, for notaries, it's non-state specific.
Mhm.
So it has the notarial wording in there that is required to be in a certificate, but obviously you need to check your state laws. And
Right.
I have a little disclaimer down there. Please make sure
You're
you
checking your
check.
state. Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure you have the right things in there. So it has that. I put in the legal descriptions to kind of help people that don't know all the documents. I
Mhm.
mean, I have the benefit of being a paralegal, so I know all that stuff.
Right.
It was all my background, so it was
Mhm.
easy for me. But so I put that in, and then I also listed some excellent books
Mm.
by a lot of the NBB
Yeah.
community
It's a great book
leaders.
list. It really is.
Yeah, it's helped me a lot.
I think
So.
every notary should have all those books on their shelves. I think they're staples in our industry. And so
Yeah,
that was a good,
especially the state ones.
yeah.
Your state has one, and the NNA book and or books, they have a few.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I love that those additional things are just extra things because here's the thing, right? We're notaries, but we're also people. And we have lives and we have other things that are going on. So our notary business is important.
mhm,
And if you want a separate planner just for notary work that doesn't include the rest of your life, and I don't know how people do that because it's part of my life. I pick up
right.
meeting on my way home from a signing, or I pick up dinner. You know what I mean? So it's part of the whole picture. So the additions you've given with those explanations and the things like that, I think are really helpful because it's an easy resource. I also want to mention, because you didn't mention it, but I'm going to, is the first page. Well, once you get into the first pages, you have a list of important numbers and you have already put in there the NNA. You've
Mhm,
given spaces for them to put the contact information for their state agencies and for their state associations. It's really helps be an total resource. Because I don't know that off the top of my head. I don't keep the NNA
right.
phone number in my phone. I should, but I don't. So I
Yeah,
think
I think I have
thoughtful
them in
way.
my phone. Right, I think I have them in my phone too, but I also it's easy to grab them when I have the planner. And what I do with my planner, since it's so big, I don't throw it in my briefcase when I leave, but I do put it on my car seat
Hmm.
beside me.
Oh,
So
do
if I'm
you?
driving and I get a call, I can kind of like whip through, carefully,
Yeah.
and see what's going on. But if I'm out and about and I need the number and I don't have my phone quite right there, I can
Yeah.
do that, which is the same way I looked at putting the contact pages in there. I just thought, and hey, sometimes our phones die.
Yeah.
We don't have them charged up or whatever.
Absolutely.
So,
There's plenty of reasons to have those there. So I think it's fantastic.
yeah.
When you were creating this in your design process, how did you think for yourself how this was going to help you as a notary and a mom and all these things, how is it going to help make your life easier with all of the responsibilities that you face and that a lot of notaries face?
Right. Well, like you said, I use this planner as just for my life. So everything has to go on those pages, which is why I ended up going with the one page for each day.
Mhm.
The one before this one had a week at a glance.
Gotcha.
And and it just, I'm sorry, it just wasn't working enough for me. So I went through and did the daily page,
Mhm.
priorities. Who do I want to connect with today? Who do I need to call? My favorite part is dinner.
It's my favorite
My
part
little
too.
because you know what? I need to work. I'm the one that's worrying about that every day.
I write a little section at the bottom of my daily saying what I'm making for dinner. I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, oh, Wendy, speaking of language. Yeah, smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just did, and then I have a little note section at the bottom. But I plan my weekly menu out at the beginning or over the weekend,
so do I.
so I go through and it's all on there. And
Mhm.
another thing I want to add too is I use pens that are erasable.
Mm,
I think it's Pilot that makes
yeah.
them.
Mhm.
So I use those because the notary
Change.
appointments change.
Mhm.
So, and
Instead
I
of
didn't want
crossing
to have.
things out. Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm. Well,
exactly.
that's another little trick I have.
I think
But
we are on the same planner plane in our brains, Wendy. 'Cause
yeah.
I'm telling you, it's for me specifically. Well, and I want to tell you this. Last year, I told Bill, I want to create a planner for notaries that implements the full focus stuff that we have because we're full focus planners,
Mhm.
which is really geared to moving your goals from inception to completion, right? And they're quarterly planners. I wanted to create a planner that brought that along with notary stuff. And so like his daily dues and things like that, I wanted to implement.
Mhm.
We're talking about it. And then I got my hands on your planner and I went, there is no point. There's no point in me doing this because you have quarterly goals in there. You have and a way to break them all down to plan for next year. You've got plenty of space for brain dumping in your weeks and your months and that kind of thing. It's really well done. Enough well done that the idea in my head has been removed from my list of things to possibly attempt in my life. This will not be one of them because your planner, if I ever think I need to move away from what I'm doing, it's where I would go. It
Well, thank
satisfies
you.
all those needs for me. So I love
Right.
it.
And the goal thing was all a new thing I put in too.
It's great.
Um, because I'm not good at breaking down my goals.
Right.
So that's why I put the monthly goals in with
Mhm.
like the three top ones you want to do that month
You
with
don't
the
want
action
50.
steps.
Yeah, you need a
Right.
couple. Yeah.
Right, because you're not going to do 50. So I
No,
tried
no.
to keep it small, and then I did the quarterly. Um, so you can go back and kind of, review what you went through the last 3 months and see where you are and
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
build on that. And so
And
that
I
was my thought
and I
process.
said it in the review video and I'll say it again. A year is a long time when you're
Hmm.
setting goals, setting smaller, more achievable goals that you can do in quarterly or monthly um, timelines. It's going to make you much more successful in achieving your goals because it is so hard to set all your goals in January to be a year long. There's a lot of things
Doesn't
to
work.
accomplish that don't need a year. And
Right.
that's one of the things I like about the full focus is because it's a quarterly planner, right? It
Hmm.
forces that on you. But it's a it's just, can I say it loud enough? I think it's a great addition to this planner. It's to help people break things down a little bit. And
Yeah.
you'd be amazed. I'm amazed at how many people don't set goals for themselves in a year. And so when when I reviewed this and when I talk about it, I will be bolstering that point because it's a super simple way to get started when you're not a goal setter is to start in smaller doses like that. So really well done, Wendy. I just think it's really
you.
fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was where I struggled too. So that was kind of a new thing for me.
Yeah.
It's already, I mean, I've only now I used it a little bit in the last quarter
Hmm.
before I put it out for the world.
Hmm.
And since it's undated, I could start, so
You've never,
I
yeah.
can already see a difference. Like I can tell with breaking down my goals, and
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
helped me. So
I love
yeah,
that. Well,
yeah.
besides, so I was gonna ask you about how the planner can help notaries manage their appointments, but I think you've been really clear about that. It gives us plenty of space, no matter what you tell the world, you cannot be a 24-hour notary. You have working hours somewhere in your life. Your life dictates that, right? What I can and can't do. Can I do a 3 o'clock appointment in the morning? Sure. You're not gonna get this, you know you're not going to get this. I'm not trying that hard. If you want me to look presentable to the world, you can book me at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's as early as I'm going to go out looking like I mean to be there. So
Right.
the reality is these are our working hours, and they might be shorter or longer depending on your notary. So I think that having your schedule set up to in those hours is plenty, right?
Hmm.
And you can't do 3 signings in an hour in 30 minutes. So there's plenty of space
Right.
to schedule your entire day out. And if you are a lucky notary in this day and age right now, where you are slammed with notary appointments, there's still enough space for you to do that in this
Oh
planner.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
there is. There is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, besides Laura, I'd love to ask if there was any specific feedback or suggestions from other notaries that influenced the development of this year's planner. And if so, how did you incorporate this input into your final product?
Yeah, there were a couple others that I worked with too, and one of the notaries, he was big on doing the undated
Mm.
notary planner. And I really had to mull that one over for a little while, but then the more I thought about it, I thought, he has a good point that anybody can pick it up at any point.
Any time of the year. Yeah.
Right. And my only recommendation is, since it is undated and that makes it great, is to start it at the beginning of a quarter.
Mhm.
That way, because it's set up for by
Quarterly.
quarter. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how
Broken
the
up that way.
people,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. So you don't want to start it in, say, December, and then you're going to be off a month with the quarterly part and
Right.
all that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
right. So then you're going to be a little bit out of whack. But yeah, so I had one notary pushing me to do it undated, and then a few of them were recommending to do the daily page as opposed to the week at a
Weekend
glance.
glance. Yeah.
So
Which worked for you
that was
anyways,
another.
because the weekend glance wasn't kind of didn't work for you so well either.
Yeah, it didn't work for me so well. I needed that dinner thing in there, and and then, like I said with Laura, she needed the bigger month. She wanted that was her big thing, and and I had to agree. Like it was just on one page, and you had to write pretty small. And if you don't write small, it got kind of messy. So
Yeah.
those are the three big things I
Yeah.
think that other people were putting their input.
Well, and is this the first year that you brought in notary quotes for your dividers?
From people in the industry.
Yeah.
Last year, I did have quotes in there, but they were just quotes I pulled
Right.
off of, wherever that
I think that's a really cool feature to really kind of include the others in the community that a lot of people have seen and have heard of. And so it kind of just ties everybody together. And I really love that.
yeah, that was fun gathering all the quotes and
It
everything
was
from
fun.
everybody. Yeah, so that's a fun thing too.
It
I
is.
forgot about that.
Well, considering the dynamic nature of notarial work, how do you anticipate the notary planner evolving to meet changing needs and demands of notaries in the future? Or do you?
Well, I was kind of thinking about maybe making a digital version of this as well.
Mm,
That was one thing I was thinking, and just to make it a little more um, inviting for the techie people and the
yeah.
younger crowd.
Yeah.
It seems to be the older crowd are the ones that
Love the
we
paper.
all want. We want the paper.
Yeah.
We have to write it all out.
Mhm.
I mean, I've tried to be digital, and I
So,
just,
so have I. I have all the apps that you need to use that planner. So have I, but I still love the feeling of a pen in my hand writing on paper. And I try to be very eco-friendly. So that's not very eco-friendly, but
right.
I can't quite pull myself
I
away.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do it either. And I did buy the The other thing I was thinking about maybe doing is making it compatible with the Remarkable tablet.
Oh,
Have you used that?
no,
Okay, well, that you can write out. It's like paper. I
really?
mean, yeah, it's just you'll have to look it up. It's a
Yeah.
tablet that's
I use
folded.
my iPad and my iPen. It's just not the same for me, but
No, it's
interesting.
not. Yes, but the Remarkable, it's like writing on paper.
Interesting.
It's a little tablet. It's about the size of an iPad.
Yeah.
Um, I
Wow.
don't know.
That's a
So
good,
that's
that's a
another
good
thing.
tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I kind of carry that with me too. Like if I go to meetings, I want to make notes
Hmm.
rather than I just didn't like writing on the iPad either. It's not the same.
Yeah.
The pen,
I,
all that.
we have to, what's it called again?
Remarkable, Remarkable tablet.
I've seen it. I know I've seen
Hmm.
it because the name makes a lot of sense.
Right. And I
Could
have a few
save
ladies.
paper in some way with using something like that.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I have a few ladies in my, some of my networking groups that use it all the time and they just love it. So I thought I'm going to give this a try. So
Nice. And you're liking
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Well, besides me, can you share any success stories or testimonials from notaries who've used the planner? Um, and how it's
sure.
did their workflow and efficiency?
A lot of people real say they love the daily page.
Hmm.
Um, that gives them everything they need, and they
Right.
love the monthly. Um, yeah, I mean everybody's been talking about how much they like that, so that's about
Awesome.
all. Yeah.
That's well, hey, if you're not getting a lot of people, with bad feedback, then you're doing a great job. And I couldn't
Oh,
imagine, aside
I
from the
haven't had it.
size, if that is not something that you want something more mobile, that would be the only thing. And that's going to be a personal thing. It's not going
Right.
to be a universal thing. So I
Yeah.
love it.
I mean, I can make it smaller, but it's not going to be.
Yeah,
It's
I
not going
wouldn't
to be
want,
as detailed.
no, it
I know. I
won't.
kept trying to cut it down and cut it
No,
down, but I just couldn't do it.
it actually, when I have it, in the video, did you watch the review? Oh,
Mm,
yeah. You could tell I had to move it so it fit in my camera because I was using my phone. But
I know.
in my life, turning here to my desk and writing on my planner, and it takes up as much as it does, wouldn't bother me in the least. So,
No, that's what I do. I have mine over to the left off,
yeah.
And the other part is since it's coil bound,
Hmm.
you can fold it back,
Yep.
right? And you got one page. So that's what I do. I have it sitting there today and,
Yep.
all
Yeah.
mine.
I love it. I
So,
absolutely love it. Well,
yeah.
you created this out of a need for yourself. And how was the experience of creating it? Did you find it to be easy or frustrating? And you clearly went through iterations, but the creative journey of that, because it is a creative journey to go from to come from an idea like that and create a product. What was that like for you?
It was fun. I had fun with it. I did a lot of it on Canva. I would just sit for hours and change the pages around. And I mean, it all came pretty easily to me. The only,
Yeah.
and the adding the goal thing this year, I thought was a really good thing, a thing for me to help with my challenges. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
You just enjoy the process.
yeah, it was fun.
I love that. I love it. All
Yeah.
right, I'm going to ask you one more question, and I'm asking everybody I'm interviewing this year, and I've got a very diverse group of people I'm interviewing this year, so I'm glad that you were part of it. Um, if you could give one piece of advice to notaries today, what would that be?
To never stop learning, to
Mm.
just always, I mean, I always have a business book I'm reading,
Mm.
something, to move forward. And I don't know, I just love evolving and improving myself. And, I'm doing the Miracle Morning book again. I
Yay!
did- I bought
The
how
new
it's
one?
the new one.
Yay,
Yes.
Wendy!
Yeah, I bought the other one. I have the other one
So
too.
do
And
I. I have a lot of them.
I started it and then I stopped. Then I
Mhm.
started it. I just can't. The problem is I'm not a morning person.
A lot of people say that. A lot of
And
people say that.
I really wish I could be to get up early and, do all those things.
Yeah,
And so I've done it for like a week or two now,
yeah,
off and on. I'm
Yeah.
still not consistent, so I'm trying really hard to
And
get.
then this is not, I have a Miracle Morning video coming out. This is not that, but just a little piece of advice. And I'm sure you've heard it.
Mhm,
It doesn't have to be early. It's just your
I
first
know.
hours, your first time. And the reason a lot of people like to get up early is because they feel like they don't have any time. That's that.
Mhm.
We could do it at night. You can do it whenever you want. But I'm glad that you're trying.
I probably should do it at night for the next day because I'm very guilty of probably, I don't know, from 8 o'clock on, I get out my iPad. I'm not a TV watcher. So I'll get out the iPad and I sit and it's just mindless. I'll
Scroll.
be scrolling through Facebook, whatever. I could be using that time to do my miracle. I'll call
Mhm.
it my miracle evening for the
Yeah.
next day. I'll
Yeah.
switch it around. And
Yeah. Well, when you get to the end of this book, he has a routine for the evening. So
oh, he does?
yeah, he does.
Okay.
So don't go to the end. Read the whole thing. You'll
All right.
love it.
I'm like a halfway through it.
Okay, awesome.
Now that you told me that, I
I
just might.
know, I know. I shouldn't have said anything. Um, Wendy,
Mm,
I appreciate you so much for taking the time to sit and just chit chat about your planner because it's
thank
really
you.
it's 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 well, you took an idea I had without knowing I had it and basically made it exactly like I would have made it. I can't even give you any commentary on what you should do differently. I think it's beautifully done and perfectly done. And so I'm a huge fan and I will not stop talking about it, especially
Thank
anytime we
you.
get up to a new year. I'm gonna be screaming about your planner. So I love it. I really do love it.
Thank you.
And I
Maybe we can
appreciate
add the Hal Elrod stuff into it too.
ooh, that'd be fun.
Miracle morning thing. I don't know.
Just a
It's
little
already
check off that you did it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
One of the things the full focus planner has, have you ever looked
Mhm.
into full focus before?
I looked at it quickly at one point, but I'll have to take a look again.
It has this little tiny box at the top of a daily page with little bubbles that you can check off. And his has a morning routine, work day startup routine, work day shutdown ritual, and evening rituals, like a bunch of different routines you can have.
Okay.
It's literally like that big on the paper, but I'm not advising that. I think your planner's great. And if I want to check off that I've done it, I can write it myself. So I love
Yeah.
it, Wendy. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have
Thank you. Thank
anything
you for
anything
having me.
exciting coming up? Are you going to any conferences or anything fun like that this coming year?
I'm going to the NNA conference, and why are you not going?
Because I'm moving and my son is graduating and a lot of things are happening right at that same time. So it's
Oh,
just not a good season for me. I know.
bummer.
Trust me, I've heard it. Everyone.
Last year was my first one.
Was it?
Yes, just last year. So, and yeah, like Nicole said on because I watched her little
Yeah.
segment from the other day. Um, Once you go to one,
You want to go to all of them. Yeah.
yeah.
Are you doing a booth or anything for your plan?
No, the thought crossed my mind, but
Mm,
I didn't pursue it.
gotcha.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
Maybe in the
Awesome.
future, maybe next
Yeah.
year.
There's always more
I'll look into
time.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
Wendy, thank you so, so, so much for doing this. I appreciate you very much and for
Well,
giving your time to us. Um, and I really hope that people will jump on board and get a hold of this planner because it's really fantastic. And you're right, you can start at any quarter. And
mhm.
just for the people that don't know what a quarter is, because they're out there, Wendy, do a little explanation of what a quarter is and why this planner works any given quarter.
There are 4 quarters to a year.
Hmm.
They are 3 months each. So beginning Jan, there are 4 quarters to a calendar year.
Yes.
So the first quarter starts in January. So because January, February, March, that's one quarter. Then
Mhm.
we have April, May,
May,
June,
June.
July, August, September,
Yep.
and October, November, December. Those are your 4 quarters.
And
So
the
yes,
reason,
then you
yeah.
can, I have a quarterly review at each one.
Mhm.
And at the end, I have um, set up for the 4 quarters for the next year.
Yep. I
And
love
there's a
that.
yeah, and a page in there for an annual review, a couple pages, I think.
Yep.
So you can sit back and think about what I didn't get done, what I
Yeah.
wanted to get done,
Yeah.
kick it
I
off
love
to the
it.
next.
I love it because that's 3 months of people setting goals that are only 3 months long or annual that you do in different steps of in those small chunks. So I love it. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. I love it. I just do. Thanks
Thank you.
again. I don't want to keep you anymore, but thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see everybody later. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Wendy. I think clearly I love her planner. I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of her. I'm a big fan of her creativity. And I hope that you guys will see some value in that too. A link to her planner will be in the description box down below. A link to the video where I reviewed her planner will also be in the description box down below. And if you have any questions for her or for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Until next week, you guys, take care of yourself and plan, plan, plan away. Bye.